Hello, my name's Nick Ansley and I'm going to give you a presentation of Piranesi and show some of the new features in Piranesi version 5.1. Now I've already got a file open here, but this model was created in SketchUp and rendered in MicroGDS, and it was rendered to the EPIX format, which is the format for Piranesi. Now this is just simply a raster file, but it has two extra channels. A material channel. Now the materials were assigned when the model was created, and if I move my mouse over the model, you can see the materials up here in the info bar. So if I just do this, and you can see that that's a material walls, this is a material called walls 2, down here we've got a material called road, grass, and so on. Also there's another channel called the depth channel, and that tells me how far my eye is into the image. So when I put the cursor down here, and if you look up in the info bar here, you can see that it's a distance of 4.5 meters. And as I move my cursor in there, the numbers increase right up to 470 meters, 471 meters, right into the horizon. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this up in a more photorealistic style, first of all, just to show you some of the basic techniques of Piranesi. Let's start off with painting the balustrading, and I'm going to use a simple brush to do that. So this is just a bright orange color. It's using a round brush. Now I've selected this style from the Styles Manager, and I've pre-created some styles for this demonstration. Now all the style is really just a collection from the tools toolbar here, and the tool options toolbar, and the color toolbar over here, all collected together and saved as a style. Now what happens in Piranesi, you can fix where you're going to paint by using locks. Now let's just change this to the plain lock for the moment and turn off the material lock, which I have. If I was to start to paint now, that color is just fixed to a particular plane in the image. Now if I wanted to preview where I would paint, just hover over with your mouse over an area and just hold down the Q key on the keyboard, and you can see that that's what would be painted if I started painting now. If I had the plane lock turned off and the orientation lock turned on, for example, and press the Q button, it would paint that whole area, because the orientation paints on the area that I've selected, and there it is. It would paint that whole area there. And finally, on the material, and hold the Q button down, just paints that material, or that one, or the grass, the road, and so on. Right, let's paint the balustrade. So we're going to whip through some of these painting styles. I'm using, as I say, a nice round brush, and I'm going to hover over there until my material is on hand railing, like so, and then start to paint. And just paint the handrails. And notice that the shading of the model is coming through, so I've still got light and dark areas of where I'm painting the handrails. And that's because I've got a blend mode of overlay. Let's take on the next style, and this style is the window frames. I need to zoom in a little bit and wait till my material goes to frame and just click. Now I'm using a fill can here, so this style's got a fill can saved, and then a burgundy color. I want to do the floor slabs and ceiling slabs for the balconies, and if I click on here, I don't really want a green color, let's just change that. Now what another feature of 5.1 is I can load in a palette, and you've got various different types of palette files you can use. I've created one earlier, and there's mine. Let's open that one, and I'm going to use this beige color. And then we've got an option here where I can reapply the effect. So instead of the green, it will use this color now. So let's just reapply that, and you can see now we've got that beige color. Let's paint the inner walls. We've got inner walls here, using again the material lock. I'm using a grain texture now. When I start to paint there, you can see it's got a blotchy effect in the distance there. So that's it for painting, and I'm going to go on to raster textures now. And we've got, first of all, the background to paint. This is using a picture of a scene that I took a photograph some time ago, and these actual photographs are available in the Piranesi library. And if I paint in the background, you'll notice that it's painted the sky, not as strong as that, because I've knocked down the texture value a little bit and mixed it in with a bit of white paint. And also I want to show more of this land at the bottom, so I'm going to click the tweak button, and I can tweak that and squash it up a little bit, and you can see that it's got the background in the distance there. So there's my background created. Let's pop some grass down here, again using the fill can. The retaining wall here using some stone texture, just a photograph, and also it's given a photograph. I'm saying that from here to here it's 1 meter 400 millimeters. Put on the brick piers. Now notice it's painted all the brick piers. Again, I've got the material lock on. Well, the reason why it's doing that is because I've got this contiguous button unchecked. If I was to check it and reapply the effect, it only paints one of the piers. By taking off the contiguous button, it paints everything in that material and reapply again. So it paints all the other ones as well. Paint on some paving. Now what I've got here, this is at a slight angle, this paving. I don't really want it at that angle. I'm going to put it at 0 degrees, and also it's a little bit, the distance across there is a little bit too much, and the stones are a bit too large. So I'm just going to reduce them down to 600 millimeters at 0.6, and again reapply the effect. That's fine, but I want the edge to start right on that edge of that curve there, so I can tweak the texture, and I'm going to tweak it and put it on the corner like so. And so you see that first stone starts at that position. Let's zoom out again. And this time we're going to put in some curbs. Again, just a texture file. Paint it here as well. And put on some windows. Now the window painting, or the windows textures I have here, I'm using a fade. I'm using a linear fade. What this is doing is it's fading using a texture file of clouds down to black, or a dark greyish colour that I've shown there. And I want to find a texture, oh yes, the main walls. I've got another blockwork texture here, this time washing in some yellow paint, and this paints the main walls. And as you can see, one of the nice things, this is using the depth channel. Whenever I paint a texture, the textures go into perspective on the wall, so you've got it going that way and that way. Finish off there with a little bit of paving right there. Some water in the pool, and up on that one as well. And now we're going to go into adding some cutouts. Now cutouts in Piranesi are quite powerful, and it's quite easy to place in the scene. So let's first of all have a look at placing these trees. I'm going to place these trees in the background. So here they are. So let's pop them into the background behind the buildings. Now notice this is a new feature of 5.1. The instead of having an outline for the cutout, you can now see the full raster image. So I'm going to push this back through this building here, and that's it, and drop the trees right there. Let's take this oak tree and again put it behind the building, just dragging it, hold the mouse down and then let go. That's a nice position. Put a shrub in here, and some shrubs along the top of the retaining wall. Let's have one here, one next to it. That's fine. One along here, just drag that out a little bit. And one here. Another little shrub on the grass here. Now you notice whenever I put down a cutout, it creates its own little shadow. What I'm going to do is, if I just double click on this, you can see this is where the raster file is, or the cutout's created, and I just want to make sure they all dock together in my styles. I've got the cutout manager there as well, and in the cutout manager it's given me an option where I can change the direction of the shadow, and I'm going to do that right now. So if I pick the button here, and there's a little bit of shadow left from the model when the model was created down here, and I'm going to use that to change the direction of the shadow. So I've got my direction there, zoom back out again, and update the selected one. We should see the shadow change here. So change here, excuse me. So let's update it, and yes, the shadow does change, and you can see that. And let's pop down a line of trees, and we'll do it to about here. And again, we'll let the shadows regenerate, and they're cast their shadows across here. Just coming up now, and there they are. Put down a shrub. Have some people.
So put one here. Again, if you can see how this is, this person I'm saying is 1.6 millimeters high, 1.6